Macmillan Audio presents The Cavendon Women by Barbara Taylor Bradford. Read for you by Anna Bentinck.
Part 1. A Family Reunion. July 1926. The little world of childhood with its familiar surroundings is a model of the greater world. The more intensively the family has stamped its character upon the child, the more it will tend to feel and see its earlier miniature world again in the bigger world of adult life. Carl Jung, The Theory of Psychoanalysis, 1913. Chapter 1. Cecily Swann knew it well, this path. She had walked it all of her life, and it was an old familiar. Lifting her head, she looked up at the grand house towering above her on top of the hill. Cavendon Hall, one of the great stately homes of England. It was the finest of all in Yorkshire. The house was her destination this morning, as it had been so often when she was growing up. Her parents and her brother Harry lived in Little Skell village at the edge of Cavendon Park, just as their ancestors had done, for 173 years, to be exact. It was a lovely Friday morning in the middle of July, and there was no hint of rain today. The sunshine streamed down, bathing the house in that crystalline northern light which gave the exterior its soft, peculiar sheen at different times of day. Cecily glanced about as she walked on. She had half expected to see Ginevra loitering here, but there was no sign of the gypsy girl. The Romany wagons were visible on the hill at the far end of the fields. Ginevra's family still lived on the 6th Earl's land. That was a given. He had always permitted it. She supposed they would stay there forever. But so much else had changed. Cavendon Hall looked the same, but it wasn't what it used to be. It was a different place. In fact, many things were different now. The Great War had changed everything, and everyone. As her father Walter was forever saying, the good old days were over, and nothing would ever be the same again. And his words were only too true. Thankfully, her father and her brother had come back safely from the Great War. But Guy Ingham, the heir to the Mowbray earldom, had not. He had died for his country, fighting in France, and was buried there alongside his comrades in arms. They had all mourned him, every person in the 3 villages around Cavendon, as well as his family. Not because he was the heir, but because he had been one of the nicest of young men. Now it was Miles who would one day inherit the earldom, and everything that this entailed. Miles Ingham. Her heart tightened at the thought of him. He had been her constant companion throughout her childhood, her best friend and later her sweetheart. She had loved him with all of her being. She still did. And he had told her many times that he felt the same, and that one day they would be married. But that had not happened. Miles had been forced to marry another girl. A suitable girl. Clarissa Meldrew, the daughter of Lord Meldrew, the right kind of girl who would give Miles an aristocratic air. That was the way it was with the gentry. Future heirs dominated their lives and their destinies. Cecily came to a stop, as a sudden thought struck her. After a moment, she veered to her left and headed in the direction of the rose garden. She needed a few moments to think, and anyway, she was too early for her meeting. A few seconds later, she was pulling open the heavy oak door and going down the steps. It was a fragrant spot, this old walled garden, filled with the scent of late-blooming roses. She breathed in the heady smell as she sat down on a wrought-iron garden seat. This spot had always been a haven of peace and beauty. Holding herself completely still, she closed her eyes, wondering why she had agreed to do this. To help Miles manage the events planned by the Earl for the family reunion. It was probably the most stupid thing she had ever done in her life. Only if you are stupid, she told herself. Obviously Aunt Charlotte thinks you...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?